evening and welcome to a special edition of Richard French Live. I'm Dominic Carter, in tonight for Richard French. This year's race for mayor of New York City is one of the most closely watched contests in the entire country. Even though New York City is often regarded as a Democratic stronghold, between Rudy Giuliani and Michael Bloomberg, Democrats have not held City Hall for some 20 years. For the next hour, we will focus on the race for City Hall and we'll hear from the candidates themselves. No surrogates, no spin doctors, just the candidates in their own words. It seems a majority of the focus lately is on the man that has shook up the entire race, former Congressman Anthony Weiner. The world is waiting to see if New Yorkers will buy into his story of redemption.
I'm very sorry for the things that I did. First and foremost, I did them to my wife, and working for her forgiveness has been my primary job. But I'm also very sorry to my constituents because I let them down. And to be honest with you, I'm also sorry to you. I mean, I was dishonest to members of the media who asked me about these things. So when people want to figure out how to assess me, people do it through their own lens. I know someone stopped me just this morning on the way to the subway and asked me about the public schools. And she's got a young child like I do. Are the public schools still the way they were when we were kids? And so I think most New Yorkers are interested in a frame of conversation which is about the future of their families, the future of New York City. But it's perfectly reasonable for people to ask questions about the other stuff. I brought it on myself.
Well, you went there, so are you more ashamed about what you did or the fact that you lied about it?
Well, what I did was dishonorable to my wife. What was dishonest to her, and that's the crime. That's the thing that I did wrong. That personal behavior that I did such damage to someone who didn't deserve it. And we've spent a lot of time working through it. You know, my wife likes to say it's in our rearview mirror, but it's not far. You know, and every day I start with an apology on my lips. I'm sure it'll be that way with a long time. And she's forgiven me and given me a second chance.
Every day?
Well, not literally, but it's there. You know, I don't know how to put it to be, it's something that we work through every day. And because I created this enormous strain in our relationship. It's an enormous amount of love that we have with one another. Now, as embarrassed as I was, I should have been honest with her. I should have been. I should have just been honest with her. And as embarrassed as I was, and the fact that I was dishonest to her, I shouldn't have been dishonest to anyone else. You know, it's the first words that Huma said after she said, "I can't believe it," were, "You can't be dishonest about this anymore." So people say it's not the crime, it's the cover-up. I'll let other people decide that. I know that for me, I was embarrassed because of something I did to my wife. I was dishonest to her, and everything else spun from that.
In private moments, Mr. Weiner, any time you break down in tears in the past?
Oh, yeah.
Is that therapeutic for you now, or?
I don't do it because, I don't know, I don't sit and say, let me turn on and cry. I mean, but yeah, this was look, New Yorkers know what this was. I did these things. These were personal things that I did that were played out in an embarrassing way for the world to see. So at the same time that I had to try to repair my marriage, I had this public maelstrom going on around. It was an enormous amount going on, and I think that it's something that obviously takes the deepest emotional toll. And you combine that with the idea that so many people out there have put their faith in me. And so, look, I've got enormous blessings. I'm in many ways a very lucky man. I've got a wife who stuck with me. I've got a 16-month-old at home who, loves me throughout it. So I'm very lucky, but I'll let someone else decide what was the worst thing about what I did. I know it was a very bad thing, and I'm very sorry for it.
How do you assess Christine Quinn as Speaker of the City Council?
I like Christine. I mean, she and I have been together in public life for a long time. For me, the term limit thing was a deal breaker, though, I must confess. You jumped from 2005 to today. We were supposed to have an election in between there that I had some eyes on. You know, I think that when the citizens vote, that creates a scaffolding, a foundation on which everything else that government does rests, good and bad. When citizens decide something in a referendum, that scaffolding exists. When you decide, to heck with it, I'm going to get rid of the voice of the people. I don't care what they think. I've got a better idea. I think it's so important that I continue to serve or the mayor continues to serve. To me, it undermines the very foundation of our government. So on that one issue is kind of like one that stuck in my craw more than others, but overall I think the people running for mayor are decent people, and they're people with whom I've worked over the years. And I'm not going to get into the race because I out of animus towards them. It's going to be because I have a different vision.
When you say deal breaker with Christine Quinn, what does that mean?
I don't think I could vote for her.
Is this scandal over? Might there be something else to come out that we don't know about yet? Some face-to-face meetings or anything like that?
Well, I can tell you that I've never met the women that were at the other end of these anonymous conversations, and but I can tell you this: I didn't sell pictures to TMZ. I didn't go do interviews, and you know, I can't say that. You know, I mean, I should say that these women at the other end of these conversations, many of them had their lives turned upside down and made no choice to do so, but I'm not going to participate in that anymore. If reporters want to go try to find more, I can't say that they're not going to be able to find another picture or find another, you know, another person who may want to come out on their own, but I'm not going to contribute to that.
Former Congressman Anthony Weiner. It is time for a quick break. When we come back, we'll hear from the only woman in the contest. She's looking to make history not only as the first female mayor of New York City, but as the first openly gay mayor of the Big Apple. That's next. Stay with us.
No, we are more than ready to have a woman and an LGBT mayor, and I think it's perfectly appropriate that the most diverse city in the world, a place that doesn't just tolerate diversity, but celebrates it as our greatest facet, would have such a mayor.